today.
Race teams are allowed 6 sets of tires for the weekend. Most of them have 4 in the pits that they can change during the day, but there'll be a bit of a difference in those sets of tires they can change. We'll talk about that as the race goes on. Let's show you the starting lineup for today's race. Clint Boyer with his first pole of the look at the starting lineup. Wally's got a little hookup with the man who will lead the field to the green.
See if we can get hold of him. Hey, Clint, this is Wally in the booth. Can you hear me?
Go ahead, Wally. Got you.
All right, now most places it really doesn't matter where you start, but I think this place you're in the best spot because it just seems like you need all the air you can get on this race car as slippery as this place is. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, this track's really slick. It's been slick all weekend. Spot here, we'll see what we got. Just need to try to lead this first lap and 250 laps after that.
You guys really have to talk about a lot of tire strategies today. Have you guys done that too? Are you kind of looking at what's the distance you think you can go on tires before you're going to have to change them?
I just try to drive. I leave that up to Gil, but just going to have to discipline yourself and keep the tires underneath of you. You can't let the car slip up off the corners and spin the tires, but a lot of discipline today.
Well, good luck, man.
Thanks.
Clint Boyer, who will lead the field to the green flag in the Blue Deuce for Richard Childress Racing. There's Blake Feast, going to have an onboard look for us from kind of deep in the field.
Yes, he is pretty deep.
And Brandon Miller sharing this 21 car with Kevin Harvick. He'll be mid-pack when the green flag waves. That's supposed to be Kenny Wallace.
But we'll take the 2 car instead.
Yeah, we will. Clint Boyer, who will bring this field around to the green flag in just a moment. Let's check down on pit road before they turn him loose with Dave Burns.
Well, Wally talked to Clint Boyer, the guy starting to his outside, Johnny Sauter in a very fast race car, and he will try to lead this race as early as lap 1. He'll try to use that outside line for momentum and also to be able to pinch Boyer down in that first corner. But the big question for Sauter is, will that outside line have any grip? Keep your eye on it. Lindsay?
Dave, Bill Elliott has never raced here at Pikes Peak, but he told me yesterday, the track reminds me of somewhere I've been. I just can't remember where. It didn't much matter. He did qualify 3rd. I talked to his crew chief, Blake Bainbridge, this morning. He said Elliott definitely has a car to beat. Upstairs.
Lindsay, thank you. Bill Elliott kind of excited about his opportunity to race here this weekend. I talked with him on Thursday night back at the hotel, and looking forward to giving Rusty's car a good drive. Well, Wally, when you've got a racetrack where the tires are going to be an issue, you heard Clint tell us he had to try and take care of them. I'm sure that each one of these drivers is going to hear the crew chief on this final pace lap tell him, take care of your tires. How does he do that?
Well, you can't force the issue. You have to try to be as smooth as you can and not really abuse a car. You can abuse a car trying to pass a lot of cars at the start. And since you're on good tires, that's when the car feels its best. So you want to try to pass as many guys as you can, but you got to be careful because you can hurt your tires by doing that. So I think you just have to kind of ride it out and feel this place out a little bit and really be careful on your new tires the first 3 or 4 laps. I think you can hurt them more in the first 3 or 4 laps of a place like this than you can over the long run.
It should be interesting to see the fight for the lead in that first corner. Johnny Sauter,
I'm a little bit, I'm a little bit surprised that Johnny wants it that bad, but I think what he's going to do, he's just going to drive down to turn 1, and if it sticks better than the car down below him, which is Clint Boyer, he's going to go after it, but he's got to stick.
Yeah. Yeah, he'll either find that out the hard way or it'll work for him. So here we go, 250 laps for the NASCAR Busch Series today. Strategy will be big. Last year, strategy won this race for Greg Biffle, who started last. Today, it's Carl Edwards back there in the back of the field.
Another thing he's got to be careful of, Alan, real quick, is not to pinch that 2 car too much, because if he pinches them off too much and that 2 car slides up into him, you take them both out.
Talking about Johnny Sauter.
Right.
Well, let's see who gets that top spot into turn 1. Here we go.
I think Johnny just went ahead and let him have it. Everybody clean through 1 and 2.
I didn't want to speak too soon on that. I want to let the back of the field get through there first.
I was very optimistic.
Yeah. Here's the race for second. Paul Menard, Johnny Sauter. Menard's going to have it. Clint Boyer leads lap 1. First side-by-side going to be back in 8th position. That's Randy LaJoie on the inside and Brent Sherman in the 10 on the outside.
Cars have gotten single file pretty fast, which I think is a good thing to do, especially early right now. It's just to feel the racetrack out, feel your car out.
Here comes Sherman and going to try the inside. Outside didn't work. I'll do a crossover.
And waiting for Randy to maybe tap him, but
that's going on for 8th and 9th places.
And those guys are racing pretty hard right now.
Yeah. Right behind them, Aaron Fike in the 66, looking to the inside.
Tony Raines on the outside.
Yep, sure is.
Car.
Oh, he's that way up high. Way up high.
Way up high, and I think he had to back pedal just a little bit.
That's Stan Barrett in the 36. Had that great top 10 finish at New Hampshire last week. David Green, 27. Ashton Lewis, 25. Denny Hamlin, 20. Trying to make some early moves. And this is the champ fighting it out with Casey. That is 6th and 7th places.
And you can see we talked about that groove. I mean, there's a lot of racing room on this racetrack. Almost 3 grooves already through the corner.
Who's that off the pace? Carl Edwards off the pace. Off of turn 2. Left front flat.
And he's going to go a couple laps down.
Yeah, at least. If not more. And right now he's down on the rim and grinding some of those front suspension parts. Well, that's a long way to go for that.
Boy, I guess.
Pennsylvania to Colorado Springs for, what, 5 laps?
And hopefully that tire won't rip apart and rip the fender off, or then he'd really be in trouble.
Of course, Carl, despite missing, is 4th in the NASCAR Busch Series Championship, so that's pretty costly for he and the team's hopes of keeping their title run alive. And I know that title is still very much in their mind. Casey Atwood getting the 6th position away from Martin Truex, the championship leader. And there is Carl finally reaching his pit, Dave.
And the crew will lift the car up, trying to get the jack under there. They finally do that. And Carl did a pretty good job of saving that left front fender that you guys mentioned. The pit road speed being slow is important, but they finally get the car jacked up. That's the worst thing about that left front being down, is getting the jack underneath. They would put 2 tires on the car and send it back out. I think he's lost 2 laps already, Alan.
And counting. He's going to be 2 and almost a 3rd lap down by the time he gets that thing up to speed. We'll call it about 2 2/3 laps. So tough luck early for Carl Edwards. You know, got the lucky dog thing. It's early in the race.
Yeah,
never know.
Yeah, he would be in line for it if we get a yellow here before. I don't think they'll catch him. So if he can just hang in there before somebody else gets lapped, if somebody else,
then he's got trouble.
Then he's in big trouble.
This is kind of top 10 pretty well settled out here. This is at the back end of the top 10. Aaron Fike, 66, trying to take the 10th spot away from Tony Raines. Fike sharing this 66 car with Greg Biffle during the NASCAR Busch Series season. And he gets the shot for the next 3 races. And they'll race for 12th here with David Green, 27, inside of Regan Smith in the 58. Talked to David some yesterday, Wally, and pretty optimistic about their chances here. He's had a lot of success at this racetrack before.
Yeah, he had a good car in practice and was very happy with the setup. Don't forget, this being an impound race, they pretty much qualified what they're racing right now.
Yeah.
So,
talking David Green. Lindsay, how about it?
I talked to David Green yesterday, and I was asking him about what he thinks about this track. He says, I love it. It's like Richmond on steroids. He said it's really flat like Richmond, but, you know, a lot more speed that he can pick up here. So we were joking around. He said it's glad that there's no mandatory testing, right?
Yeah. So David losing a spot there as Regan Smith goes by him for 12th.
Fike and Tony Raines are still going at it pretty hard.
Yeah. Talked about Aaron Fike sharing this race car with Greg Biffle.
He's got the spot.
Yeah. Can you imagine the pressure? And Clint Boyer talked about this a lot as his experience in sharing a car with Kevin Harvick last year. How about you got to share a car with Greg Biffle? So Biffle goes out and does what he does with it. Then you got to come in the next week and try and live up to that standard.
It's a little pressure.
Just a little bit, Dave, huh?
Well, and of course, if you have a track where you have some familiarity, that helps a lot. And Aaron has run here before in the Silver Crown Series, as well as in a midget here in the USAC Series. So he's got laps here. And he told me this morning, even though they were in much different race cars, it has really helped his confidence.
He's doing well so far. Up to 10th place for Aaron Fleck, young driver out of Galesburg, Illinois. Speaking of doing well, there's your leader, Clint Boyer. He has paced every one of the 13 laps that we've run so far. Carl Edwards, by the way, the first car not on the lead lap. We'll see how that all shakes out when we come back to Pikes Peak International Raceway.
It's a little bit loose in the turns, but man, it's a sweet ride. Now that's horsepower.
Oh, sorry. Wrong locker. Hey, I've seen that one before. You're still using that one, huh? Whoa, that's a new one. Yeah. Too late. I saw it, so, that's not gonna work.
The competition is wild at the Citgo Bassmaster Classic, July 30th and 31st, 5:30 p.m. on ESPN.
When I first went out on the street to talk to folks about car insurance, I had no idea what I was in for. Seems all those big insurance company premiums have people a little riled up. Of course, when they found out that they could save hundreds of dollars a year just by switching to Eastwood Insurance, things got better. Well, sort of. So why not see how much you can save with Eastwood Insurance? Just call 1-800-468 for a free quote today. And really, simple think you'll be fine.
That's the hardest thing I've ever done.
That's how Mark Martin qualifying for last year's chase for the NASCAR Nextel Cup. Despite not missing a race since 1988, 26 races tested the veteran like never before. How does a driver compete in over 600 races, yet become challenged by just 26? The NASCAR Nextel Cup Series Race to the Chase.
I don't know how it happened, but Frank and I really got in over our heads financially. We were so scared.
We had no idea how to get out of the hole.
So we called a debt reduction specialist at H&R Block Mortgage.
We wanted a company we could trust, one that really knew numbers, would give us honest answers.
Now, instead of paying that every month, we paid this. This is better.
If you're a homeowner facing financial uncertainty, if you've gotten in a little over your head, call today for your free debt reduction analysis. If there's a way to cut your mortgage payment and significantly reduce your monthly bills, H&R Block Mortgage will find it. We'll find a way to save you money so you can put financial fear and anxiety behind you, so you can stop worrying and regain financial control, so you can start living.
Call 1-800-945-2147 for your free debt reduction analysis.
I'm not worrying about money or arguing about it. It's so much better. Call today.
All right, so we're here outside of Colorado Springs, and our Aqua Velva trivia question has to do with this vicinity. What driver in today's race is an avid snowboarder and owns a home in Colorado?
I know the answer, so I'm not going to say it.
Here's a hint. He's driving that car. Bill Elliott, who is running fourth right now in the opening moments of today's race. While Clint Boyer continues to lead, let's get an update on Elliott's race progress from Dave.
Well, I was just going to add, Alan, that in talking to that crew who, you know, most of them idolized him as they were youngsters, they said the best thing about working with Bill is that he's easygoing. And I guess so if you're a snowboarder and you spend part of your time in Colorado.
Yeah, Bill, easygoing. I talked earlier about Bill being excited about being here. You don't pull that from the inflection of his voice. You pull that from the words. Because Bill is just Bill.
Yeah.
Good, bad,
level.
Yeah.
He's always level.
Always has been. Out there running Rusty Wallace's car in fourth place today in the early going at Pikes Peak. Bill ran this car a couple times earlier this year, some of these separate Busch Series races from the Cup weekends. This is 8th place. Randy LaJoie, 34. Brent Sherman, 10. These two have been kind of locked together right since the green flag waved. And it looked for the opening couple laps like their fenders might be going to get locked together. Yeah. They managed to settle it down. How about this 34 team? Well, you and I talked to them qualifying yesterday. It was a brand new team started this year. And it seems like they're starting to get their legs under them.
Yeah, I talked to Randy yesterday about it. And he, it was rough at the beginning of the year, and they weren't getting the results. And he was really happy yesterday when I talked to him because he felt like they were just starting to turn the corner and cars were getting to where he wanted them to be and starting to run competitive. And you have to capitalize on, when you do run and finishes. But he was pretty happy with his car yesterday.
Of course, LaJoie, a former series champion, and this team co-owned by Frank Cece, longtime Busch Series team owner, and the former NFL quarterback Jim Kelly. There goes Brent Sherman by.
And Sherman's doing a good job, too, in that 10 car.
Brent with his third race with the PPC team. This is the team that also owns Kenny Wallace's car. Showed him with another team earlier this season, but they're got together here a couple of weeks ago and had a great qualifying run, started 8th. Got one in the wall in turn 4. And the caution flag is out. And that is Curtis Davis. Right front fender is torn up. Is that before or after he hit?
I didn't see him hit.
Let's see.
Maybe we'll get the answer here. Wow, that thing really took off. That looks like a tire went down.
Ouch.
When a car turns like that, something broke or you got a flat tire.
All right, so this is just 25 laps into the race.
Well, we talked about the tire thing, and after you run a couple laps on tires here, they're not very good. But it just depends on what everybody has and how many laps they have on the tires that they may be used in practice.
You get 6 sets of tires to use for the weekend. Some teams ran 1 set for the entire practice yesterday, bolted the set on for qualifying that they've got on the car now, so they've got 4 sets of stickers in the pits. That's to spread out over a 250-lap race.
Looks like they're coming for him.
Yeah. This is going to get interesting later in the day. Who's got what tires left? Leaders on pit road at lap 26. Lindsay?
The number 11 car of Paul Menard comes in. He's been getting on the radio saying that he is just a touch free, but he is getting better and better with every single lap. So they're going to change all 4 tires, give him some fuel, take a tear off the window. Today,
Johnny Sauter in the orange number 1 is going to make a chassis adjustment for that car, not handling well. The 2 of Clint Boyer, they want to come in and put on 4 tires and make no changes to his car. He's very happy with it, and obviously leading the race was pulling away from the competition. Little trouble on the left side now, and he leaves.
And Boyer will be first off of pit road. Wow, that's David Stremme. Did not pit under the yellow. He's going to have to now.
They have run over some debris from that 0 car of Curtis Davis.
Yeah. And a couple other cars did not pit under the yellow flag as well. And we'll update that in a minute. Lucky dog on this one was not Carl Edwards. Scott Lagasse Jr. gets the Ballpark Lucky Dog Award. First car not on the lead lap. So Lagasse will get to come back around and rejoin the hunt. Under yellow for the first time here at Pikes Peak. You're watching NASCAR on TNT.
Tonight on Speed, old school racing is back. Pinks, lose the race, lose your ride.
Good day to lose your car. A lot of money. This is a pretty quick car. That's something we're going to have to be scared of. You're going to line it out and you're going to race.
You're going to want to run gas.
That nitrous, it sure does even the playing field a lot. Let's race. Good luck, guys.
Lose the race, lose your ride. Pigs tonight at 8:30, only on Speed.
Drive a sports car like no other. The Mazda RX-8.
Stop treating me like a dead shrub, Nancy. I'm gonna beat this thing.
Beat it once a week. Should be okay. Thanks, Jen. No problem, Nancy.
Oh, hey, look at me.
Ace, the helpful place.
Pacing is everything, especially when drinking. Crown Royal.
This is Duralast, the battery built to exceed the need. Engineered with all the cranking power you need for extreme conditions. Get the battery built to exceed the need. Only at AutoZone.
What are you setting your sights on? And when you see it, will you be ready? Just pick up the phone, dial 1-800-645-ARMY, and you'll get this free DVD. You'll learn about the hundreds of opportunities the Army can offer you. Skills, education, healthcare. Call 1-800-645-ARMY, and you'll also get this free Boonie ad. Whatever you're looking for, the Army can help you find it.
Half a lap away from the restart in the ITT Industries Systems Division. Goulds Pump Salute to the Troops 250, presented by Dodge.
That's a new track record right there.
It is. We needed that half lap to get the race name in. Clint Boyer, the leader after the pit stops. An update on David Stremme in a moment. He's back to 32nd spot. Carl Edwards also some time on pit road with the hood up on his car. We'll follow up on that also after we race a lap or so.
They're going to be stretching tires here later on.
At 25 laps, and they took the first set, most of them with 4 sets there in the pits.
They're going to be stretching some tire wear.
Be a little slip sliding away going on, huh? Bill Elliott on the move, going to try and get second from Aaron Fike. And here comes the rest of the train. Paul Menard in the 11, Johnny Sauter.
Close.
How about a little 3 wide? But you can just see the cars bouncing up and down when they go across that patch in turn 1. Fike hanging on to 3rd. Sauter and Menard to race for 4th and 5th. J.J. Yaley right behind them, the orange and white car, and then the championship leader, Martin Truex Jr. He's running 6th.
Sauter just can't get the grip down there on the bottom to make the pass. And it almost looks like the outside groove is working pretty good down in 3 and 4 there. Menard slipped up a little bit, lost a spot to Sauter that time.
Now Fike a little bit wide. Yeah, that's threading the needle.
He's high.
It's good stuff. Sauter to 3rd, Fike to 5th as Menard goes through. Here comes Yaley. Yaley's been on kind of a roll here lately. How long?
Yeah, he ran good last week and good here qualifying.
He's got his 4 best career NASCAR Busch Series finishes in the last 6 races. That's pretty good.
Yeah. Another team, I think, looking to turn things around a little bit. Starting to see the results.
Yeah. Yeah. Both cars. Talked about Carl Edwards being in the pits with the hood up on his car. He came out late, rejoined the field. That's Carl down on the inside trying to get to the double up spot.
He had a good run on everybody. Doesn't matter. He's not passing these guys for position. It's just track position, but he has really got his work cut out for him. I watched this as it was happening, too. But he's got his work cut out for him, Dave, because, you know, there's a lot of cars that will get the lucky dog before he does.
And you guys were wondering about the hood up on that car. Sway bar, they were checking the sway bar and the sway bar arm when that left front was down. Of course, a lot of grinding goes on there. They were just making sure that everything was okay on the sway bar.
So no motor issues, just checking things out.
Make sure all the bolts were on the hind joints and everything that's supposed to hold that thing in place. Denny Hamlin, Joe Gibbs Racing 20 on the move. Going to get by Brent Sherman there.
Tony Raines a little sideways there off the turn 2 in the 33 car. Kenny Wallace going to take the spot.
Kenny in the white 22, yeah.
Looks like Raines struggles a little bit on the get-go with tires, and this car kind of looks like it gets better after about 10 laps, but like he's hanging on there.
Saw the car jump loose there when he hit that patch and came off it in turn 2. Kenny Wallace trying to pick up a spot. That'll be 13th place by Brent Sherman. And Brandon Miller to try and follow him through. Miller sharing this car, this 21 machine, with Kevin Harvick. During this season, I talked to Brandon yesterday. He said he and Kevin used to be teammates racing go-karts as kids. And he has spent a lot of time this year at the races that Kevin has been driving this car, either up in the spotter stand or on the pit box, listening a lot about the adjustments, how Kevin gives the crew feedback for what adjustments to make on pit stops. He said that's probably been the biggest help to me than anything this year.
It's real important. I mean, you need to make sure that your crew chief and yourself are on the same page, and you know, that communication is what makes all this work.
Here is Johnny Sauter trying to get the second spot from Bill Elliott. Sauter in the 1, Elliott in the 64.
Sauter really likes the bottom right now. He's been working that white line for the whole race, and it seems to be working for him pretty good.
Not quite able to close the deal there. Had to fall back behind Bill.
But I think as these cars wear their tires, they slide up more. If he can stay on the bottom, eventually he'll pass a lot of cars by using that bottom line if he can stay down there.
Should see how much more momentum Bill was able to carry off the corner, while Johnny has to kind of wait that little bit to bury the gas.
Yeah, if he stays on the gas real hard right here, he'd slide up into Bill. So that's why, that's where he's got to just crack out of it and get back in line and try it again. And he's going to try again.
I was just thinking, well, how frustrated is he going to get if Bill keeps rallying back? All right, now he's going to get the spot as Bill's going to let him go. So Sauter to second, Elliott back to third, all going on behind Clint Boyer, who has led every lap of this race so far. We'll take a break from Pikes Peak International Raceway and go through the field when we come back on TNT.
3 days, 4 intense races. This weekend on Speed. Friday, it all begins on the Oval with ARCA Stock Car Racing live from Gateway. Saturday, live from Portland, road racing takes over. America Le Mans Series. Sunday, the action continues and the competition heats up. The Rolex Sports Car Series live from Birmingham. Then the Champ Car World Series roars through the streets of San Jose. It all begins Friday 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific, only on Speed.
Cash rebate or 50 music downloads from Sony Connect when you buy any select set of 4 Dunlop tires for your car, truck, or SUV.
Okay, let's talk back to school and PCs. You need one, and you'll get a great value with Gateway. Take the 3310S desktop, write term paper, send emails, it's just $399.99. Or step up and do more with the 5310S for just $599.99. A little more buck gets you a lot more power and speed thanks to the Intel Pentium 4 processor. Gateway will even ship it to you free. To order yours, call today or buy online at gateway.com.
I just got Verizon DSL service instead of cable, and I'm glad I got it.
It's $29.95 a month for Verizon.
I mean, what is that? It's $1 a day.
They doubled the speed, and the price stayed the same.
Verizon DSL is so fast, it's like lightning.
The DSL thing has got me flying.
Verizon Online DSL is super fast, and it includes all the great features of MSN Premium. Not so with cable.
Now, you get pop-up blockers,
firewall, an antivirus thing,
and parental controls.
Parental controls, that's huge.
It can be all this stuff, and it's inexpensive.
I'm loving it. I'm saving a ton of money.
I had a lot of choices,
but I love Verizon DSL.
Now you can get an even better deal on Verizon Online DSL.
It's our lowest price ever. Just $19.95 a month for 3 months when you call 1-888-786-2375 before July 31st. Compare that to cable. That's 1-888-786-2375 to take advantage of this special offer.
It's definitely a no-brainer.
TNT Sports live at Pikes Peak International Raceway with NASCAR Busch Series Racing. Clint Boyer driving for Richard Childress, leading all but one lap, and that one lap coming during an exchange of pit stops. Boyer out in front, and we will be the first subject of our Through the Field. We start with Dave Burns. Dave?
And of course, being out front, Alan, gives him those bonus points. On the very first lap, when he beat Johnny Sauter back to the line, spotter Will Lynn radioed down and said, that's 5 points, and that's important in the championship. Now, Johnny Sauter, you watched him racing Bill Elliott. He would slide in the middle of the turns. That's what they were working on in the first stop. He had great entry, but slid in the middle. So they made a wedge adjustment to try to help Johnny. As for Bill Elliott, happy with the car, easy going, laid back, 4 tires, no changes for awesome Bill. Lindsay?
J.J. Yaley is feeling great about his car. They brought it in because he was saying the car was a little bit tight. It's tight in the corner. Small air pressure and an adjustment is what they made. They say he is good to go. Now, as for Paul Menard in the number 11 car, he was complaining that he was a little bit too tight in the middle. But they brought him in. They gave him 4 tires and fuel. He says he is getting better and better every lap. Today,
Championship leader Martin Truex Jr. was not happy with their car. They had to make air pressure adjustments on the rear tires, plus they put a spring rubber in the right rear, a whole one. The car was really tight. As far as the 66 of Aaron Fike goes, good stop for them. They only took 2 tires. That's why they made it out so well. They had a loose race car, took a little tape off the front nose. That helps. Lindsay?
Casey Atwood is dropped from 6th position to 8th. They brought him in. They gave him 4 tires, fuel, made a small chassis adjustment. Casey told me earlier he loves racing this track, but obviously he doesn't want to be losing that position. David Green follows.
Randy LaJoy in the 34 car. We talking about him now, guys? Is he on camera there? The third.
All right, I think we got our signals crossed when David Green passed Casey Atwood.
And Randy has jumped a couple spots back, too.
There we go.
Wow, Randy slid up a whole bunch there that race. Dave, it looks like Randy might be sliding that car a little bit right now. Looks like that car's tight.
Can I say it again? I had so much fun saying it the first time. Randy LaJoy. Actually, Randy was pretty happy with the car on that first stop, so they didn't make any changes, but the car has wanted to push toward the walls and the walls in the middle of the corners, and that's what he's been complaining about.
All right. There are your top 10.
It looks like he's a little bit tighter than he was the first go-around, so I think they'll be adjusting that race car. And you know what, with the cloud cover now, you know, it's got to be cooling things off quite a bit. I mean, this is a big relief for the drivers, and it also is helping the racetrack, which may be tightening the track up a little bit.
All right, it's a big relief for the drivers as far as the temperature, but it's going to change the handling of their car, and they're going to be chasing it, especially if the clouds go back away again.
Well, unless you were really loose. If you're really loose to begin with, the track come right to you.
J.J. Yaley on the move, looking for 3rd spot on Bill Elliott. Yaley in the 18. Just a matter of time before that young man wins a race.
Yeah, they, like I said, they're really turning that program around, and last couple weeks he's done a good job. Doing a good job here.
Just remember, it was Yaley that had to jump in Tony Stewart's Nextel Cup car in Chicago, and Tony had that hard crash a few weeks ago. Yaley qualified the Home Depot car 13th fastest that day.
And he did a good job then, too.
Yeah.
And we got Brett Sherman on pit road already.
Well, it's been about 25 laps of racing.
Yeah, but they're not going to have enough tires if they keep changing it after 25 laps.
Yeah, that's right. Finish the pass, not quite. And a little lap traffic ahead here to come into play for this race for 3rd. There's the Steve Grissom car, the 49. There's Sherman leaving pit road. Hey, you're right, Wally. If they're stopping after just another 25 laps, the numbers don't add up there.
They're going to last 150 laps on a set of tires.
Yeah.
And that's not going to be fun.
Yeah. So Yaley has to give way to Elliott with the lap car. Nobody's giving way to Clint Boyer.
No, Clint looks like he's kind of pretty much where he wants it. Dave, do you have some pit strategy for us?
Yeah, my pit strategy is working out great. I love the cloud cover. Yeah. But as for these guys bolting on tires at 25 laps, most of the crew chiefs I talked to this morning said, I really don't want to put on my first new set until about lap 30 or 35. So this really forced their hand. And, of course, Clint Boyer led the charge coming down. It was about 5 laps earlier than anybody wanted to do it.
It's going to be something to see who can make their car last longer, especially if we get a long green flag run. Somebody's going to end up with an advantage at the end of this day that's going to win in the race.
Absolutely. It's going to come right down to whoever's got the best set of tires that last run is going to make all the difference.
Now, I talked about David Stremme having a flat left front tire out of that last caution. Lindsay, how about an update there?
What they tell me is that it was some sort of air pressure problem that he had. They weren't planning on bringing him in. And as you can see, it's already cost David about 10 spots.
Did they change all 4 or just that one tire, Lindsay?
They changed 2 tires.
2 tires?
Yes.
Okay.
So Stremme trying to dig his way back. He went back to 32nd place. He's up to 17th now and trying to catch up. Leader has caught the tail end of the pack here. That's Tyler Walker in the 38th, and he's going to try and put a lap down. Tyler is the 31st place car.
That's surprising. I thought Tyler had a pretty good car yesterday. It looked like in practice also.
Well, when you get a car handling that good, it looks so easy.
Yes, and it is easy. I mean, when the car does handle, you can go where you want and pass guys high, low, and it's a lot of fun.
You've got time to wipe the sweat off your nose. How about it, Dave?
If he is sweating right now, the only thing that he's sweating is the one car behind him. Spotter just reminded him that the one car is making up ground on you in traffic. Be aware.
Johnny Sauter's having to fight through that same traffic, though. And speaking of fight, Yaley's taking it to Bill Elliott again.
Yep, and he's going to take it away, too.
So J.J. Yaley started 7th. He is up to 3rd. Martin Truex starting now to make some progress through the pack. We got the update on the handling of his car from Dave going through the field. Some adjustments on that last pit stop, and looks like the pace has picked up.
Both these cars, 8 and 11 of Paul Menard, they were together on the timesheets all day yesterday, and they're still together on the track.
And the Brent Sherman you see pictured there now 2 laps down, 35th place after his green flag pit stop there a minute ago. Got an update on Brent Sherman for us, Lindsay?
Brent Sherman got on the radio to his crew chief and said he feels loose everywhere. The car is awful. They brought it in. All they did was change 4 tires and give him some fuel, but obviously you can see he's a couple laps down and they're not happy. They're trying to figure out what they can do to pick it up.
He better get used to that not comfortable feeling.
Because towards the end of the race, he's going to have a lot of it.
Yeah. Clint Boyer cruising right now, has led 63 of 64 completed laps. Johnny Sauter staying right with him. Mark Reno with Johnny Sauter's team as they watch their driver run second.
It's a Formula One weekend on speed from the Hungarian Grand Prix. Friday, live F1 practice. Then on Saturday, live F1 qualifying. And Sunday, the Hungarian Grand Prix. Your F1 weekend begins Friday, 8 Eastern, only on Speed.
Man, it'd be great to win that Kawasaki jet ski.
Check out Liquid Sports at Hooters today. Eat crab legs, drink cold beer, and register to win a Kawasaki jet ski.
That jet ski fantasy gets him every time.
NASCAR Nation with Leanne Tweeden weeknights on Speed Channel. Off track in depth, NASCAR and beyond.
And that 2 car is singing.
Clint Boyer singing a happy tune, huh? Out in front by a second and a half over Johnny Sauter after 72 laps at Pikes Peak International Raceway. Boyer leading all but 1 lap, that one during an exchange of pit stops, and now he's caught the tail end of the field, and he's beginning to put a lot of guys a lap down.
He's putting a lot of good cars a lap down, and It's not good news for the 60 car, Carl Edwards.
Carl with the flat tire back at lap 5. And his chances of getting a lucky dog pass are pretty well somewhere between slim and none right now.
More towards none.
Yeah. How about the 2, Dave?
They just told Clint Boyer, you know, guys behind you are starting to run the high line. Keep that in mind. Not that you'll need it. Clint radioed back and said, yeah, I'm running the apron.
Hey, if you can run the apron and everybody else is running the high line, you're going to be gone. He is. He's right down on the apron.
Yeah.
I don't think our audio is matching the picture on that one, folks.
That's what I was thinking, too. Was Clint basically doubling his deficit to Mark Truex in the Busch Series Championship last weekend at New Hampshire. It's not that he finished all that badly. He finished 16th, but with Truex winning 2 of the last 3 races, Clint's deficit went from 70 to 142 points all of a sudden. And he knows they need to start chipping away at some of that ground. Winning does get you maximum points.
It does, and the 18, you know, Martin Truex's team, those guys are good every week. And it's even to be out of the top 10 is unusual for them. And it's hard to gain points when the guy you're racing against is always finishing decent.
There's Truex. Cruising around in 5th place, just 5 3/4 seconds behind the leader, Dave.
And he said very little about his race car since that last stop. But that high line that I spoke of, that's what Martin has found his car likes. So he's moved up to that highest group, real close to the marbles, and is running that line most every lap.
Going after Bill Elliott for 4th place. And a new runner in 2nd. Yaley marching forward. And how about this little race for 8th and 9th? That's Denny Hamlin in the 20 and Aaron Fike in the 66. How about J.J. Yaley, Lindsay?
J.J. Yaley has run 4 USAC races here. He has a 2nd place finish, 2 3rd place finishes, and 1 4th. You know, he says his car is pretty much perfect. They did bring it in. They made an air pressure adjustment because he was a little bit tight off of turn 4. They gave him 4 fresh tires. He said he's good to go. You can see he's charging out there.
I'll tell you what, his lap times compared to the leader Boyers are pretty comparable. So it'll be interesting to see if maybe he gets a caution and can close up some of the gap.
Well, that lap right there, Yaley was faster than the leader, Clint Boyer, by about 1/10 of a second.
Yep. Best career Busch Series finish for J.J. Yaley is a 4th place at the Milwaukee Mile last month. And of course, Yaley, you know, we talk about guys having experience on this racetrack. Yaley's got laps on this racetrack in a USAC open wheel car, so it's not like the place was totally foreign to him when he came in here.
And that helps a lot. It helps a lot to go to a racetrack that you've been to before and you've got a lot of laps on.
Let's check some speeds at the line and see how Clint Boyer's lap time compares with J.J. Yaley's this time. Last lap, Yaley was a couple of tenths faster.
Yeah, he's going to be probably faster this lap, too. Boyer was passing a car there. So that definitely slowed him down that lap. He's in a lot of traffic right now.
David Green. Nice fast lap for the 7th place runner.
Yeah, a lot of it right now is just going to depend if you've got a clean lap. Leaders right now are in a lot of traffic.
Well, it's been over 50 laps on this green flag run now, Wally. So some of these guys are really going to be hanging on, and some of them are going to be screaming to their crew chief, when are we pitting next?
Yeah.
And if we get a yellow now, we're going to see a big charge on the pit road.
And that's going to force the issue. It's going to force everybody to put tires on.
Yep.
So for a lot of these guys to think out front, their cars are working, they don't want to see a yellow. They'd like to see this thing go green as long as possible for a lot of these cars a lap down.
Bill Elliott sliding back a bit, Dave.
Yeah, his car is just a little bit loose going into the corners. That's why he's going backwards. But Blake Bainbridge, his crew chief, told me this morning he's okay now with how he communicates with Bill Elliott. Remember, Blake was a really young guy when Bill Elliott was winning all his championships and racing and everything. And he said, when I first started working with Bill this year, the first 2 races, I was a little bit in awe. He said, now Bill and I are straight with each other. Bill tells me what he needs. I tell Bill what I want to try, and Bill says, sure, we'll give that a try. Much more business-like now. But Blake said early on, it was a little tough racing with one of your idols.
It's probably a lot like, you know, when Dave started working with me, he was pretty intimidated. You think so? In the TV industry, but then he loosened up and really got good at it.
It didn't have anything to do with the fact that at the time you owned a tank and knew where he lived.
Well, still do.
Yeah. So Bill Elliott running 5th behind Clint Boyer, who is out in front here at Pikes Peak International Raceway. 83 laps and 250 complete. You're watching NASCAR on TNT.
Speed Channel Test Drive. Mitsubishi Eclipse. Power and performance isn't just under the hood.
Our NASCAR Busch Series coverage from the West in terms of NASCAR land. Pikes Peak International Raceway near Colorado Springs. Watching Martin Truex Jr., the championship leader, who has just picked up a couple more spots.
Yeah, I think he's got that car where he wants it.
You can add 8. I can.
Hey, Dave, how about it?
What do you know? I can add 8. How about that?
Yeah.
The 8 car, Martin Truex. When I talked to his crew chief, Kevin Mannion, this morning, I asked him how he felt about the car. He said, you know what? I'm optimistically concerned, which I thought was a very interesting way to put it. They said when they went off the truck earlier on Friday for practice, the car was great. Then the car went way bad. They had to come a long way on their setup. And he said this morning, I'm optimistically concerned. I'd say now, he's just optimistic.
Well, like you said, Dave, on that first pit stop, they made a pretty big adjustment to the car. Obviously, they went in the right direction.
Yep, absolutely, Alan, and that's the key here. As you know, you've got you don't often have cautions here at Pikes Peak, so you've got 1 or 2 shots maybe to make your car right, and they've done it.
So Truex is up to 3rd. He got around Johnny Sauter. He got around Bill Elliott, and is about, unfortunately for him, 9 seconds behind the race leader. That's 9 seconds on a 1-mile track.
Yeah, the 2 cars working really good. If he can stay on the bottom all day, he's going to be very tough to beat because a lot of these cars are sliding up the racetrack. So he's got his car where he wants it. 1 car struggling a little bit.
There is the race leader, Clint Boyer.
He's Johnny Sauter sliding back a few spots, and here Paul Menard's taking another spot from him. I'm not sure if Johnny isn't hurting his tires on the start, like what we talked about earlier. I think you can hurt your tires, you know, at the first 5 or 6 laps, and he's real aggressive on the restarts, and I'm not sure that's not catching up with him a little bit. Dave?
Alan, is it too early in the race to tell Wally he's right?
You might as well go ahead.
Well, okay, well, I think you were right. Johnny said on lap 47 after the restart, about 10 laps in, the car is a lot better. Then 30 laps later, he said, I've got no grip on the long run. They're suggesting reducing the air pressure in those front tires to try to help him.
Yeah, that would help, but he's also got to take care of him a little bit better. I think if he's going to be aggressive, even if they drop the pressures, that's going to hurt him.
What he needs and what a lot of the field needs is a caution now, and there is the yellow flag. Jason Keller, smoke from behind his car. That's Keller on the apron.
Looks like he's got a flat tire, or the car's leaning over a lot. Looks like maybe a right front flat. Yes.
Yeah.
And that's just about kind of what we saw last time, wasn't it, Alan? I mean, we're starting to see some of these guys have some right front tire problems after.
Oh, this is a lot longer.
This was, yeah, because it was 25 laps first, right?
Yeah, I mean, they were on the green. It went green at lap 30. This is lap 94.
Okay.
So there's a good 65-lap run there. Jason Keller had been put a lap down by leader Clint Boyer. You see that that tire is going to become a much bigger issue for him now.
Yeah, that's the problem. He should have hit pit lane when he had the chance, because he stayed out trying to stay on the lead lap, and now he's going to lose a lot more laps because of that. It's hard to run these cars around a 1-mile racetrack or any racetrack when it's flat, because if they start coming apart, the crew's got a lot of damage to fix.
Ah, yeah, there's a little brake duct.
Yeah, I'm sure he's got brake issues now.
Oh, and he's got NASCAR issues too, because he was across the commitment line going to pit road when he changed his mind, or got told to change his mind, and that was across that. So
that was the wrong move. They should have come in and just taken their beating, and at least they would have had a race car in one piece.
So Keller going to get a penalty for NASCAR for a commitment line violation as well, after they figure out and fix what ails them under the right front.
So a little salt in that wound, and well, Here we go.
Pit stops for the leaders will be after 96 laps are completed. Clint Boyer, J.J. Yaley, and Martin Truex leading them down. Lindsay, go ahead.
Here comes J.J. Yaley. His crew chief, Jason Ratcliffe, just got on the radio to his entire crew and said, guys, we need it to be picture perfect to keep up our pace. All they're going to do is give him some fuel, 4 fresh tires, and they're hoping to send him off and away today.
The 2-car, Clint Boyer comes in. They discuss changes. Clint said, I wouldn't change a thing. Just give me 4 fresh tires and send me on my way. His job was to hit his marks in the pit box correctly. He did that, has plenty of room. Crew making a nice, smooth stop so far. It's full of fuel, and he heads off pit lane again, beating everyone off.
Yeah, by a bunch. So, Clint Boyer's team gets him off the pit road first. David Stremme showing a lot of smoke when he came down the pit lane.
Yeah, right before he hit pit entrance, I mean, there was a bunch of smoke coming off the back of that car. Almost like a line blew off or something.
Yeah, but not showing it on pit exit. But we will follow up there just the same. Clint Boyer, 26 years old, from Emporia, Kansas. Former NASCAR Weekly Racing Regional Champion. Second in the NASCAR Busch Series Championship. First at Pikes Peak thus far today. TV. Here's our Aaron's pit summary. Don't do that to me. Everybody kind of holding serve there on the pit stops.
Yeah, everybody pretty much went out the way they came in. Now we've got a lot of cars down on that inside line. And that's going to make these restarts a lot more interesting than it was before.
Cars a lap or more down to the inside of leader Clint Boyer and the other lead lap cars. And we get set to go back racing at lap 100. Let's see if Boyer can clear the traffic.
I think he will. Maybe the top 2 will. About 3.
Ooh, let me get 3 wide down there.
Had an awful restart.
Yikes. I think that was Kim Crosby, 26 car. For the lead, J.J. Yaley. He's going to get it away from Clint Boyer.
Ooh, that's pretty impressive right there.
And now for second place. Truex trying to hang in there. Oh, he's getting a little pressure of his own. Bill Elliott's on his back bumper. Not quite.
And they're all pretty much at the bottom right now, but then after they get some laps on these tires, they'll all start sliding up to.
Got that 4 or 5 laps of field going on.
Goodness, this is not pretty here, folks.
When you watch a race and you say, I feel a caution about to happen,
this is what we're talking about.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Oh, on the apron, is that Stacy?
It's John Wood.
John Wood. Oh, I think he's going to pull it off, too.
A lot of bounds line here. It's not Daytona.
Man.
Tell you what. Oh, got one on the wall on the front stretch. Aaron Fike just got squeezed into it momentarily. Managed to hang on to it, but keep an eye on his right front. That came out of that whole pack.
Yeah. Hopefully he didn't get the fender. It doesn't look like it's smoking it. 41 cars made some gains today, hasn't he?
I'll tell you what. Reed Sorensen started 33rd. He's 10th, trying to get 9th.
He's going to get 9th. Works underneath Randy LaJoie and takes that spot. Lindsay, what are they saying about Reed Sorensen's car? Looks like it's pretty fast right now.
It looks pretty good, and this morning I talked to the crew, and they said they knew that Reed was going to have a good day because typically he's very, very quiet. But today he was kind of bouncing around the garage. They just brought the car in. They gave him 4 tires, the fuel, and they have gotten their balance issue under control. So they think he's good to go. He's just going to keep taking more track position.
All right. I'll tell you what, Reed is doing a phenomenal job behind the wheel today, too, for a racetrack he never saw, never competed at until he showed up here for practice on Friday. From the back to a top 10 spot.
And a good race car, again, helps that a lot.
Okay, watch the 66 car on frame left. Squeezed into the wall.
It looks like he got a piece of it twice.
But Fike continues on and is in 16th place on the lead lap. Brandon Miller, 21. Denny Hamlin 20. That is for 8th and 9th place. Just ahead of Reed Sorensen. 10 car of Brett Sherman, remember, made a green flag pit stop for tires earlier. He's 2 laps down in 30th place.
He's got to bring out like the mirror because Reed Sorensen may pass them both.
So Miller's through. Here comes Sorensen. That'll put Miller up to 8th place. Best finish for Brandon Miller so far in his rookie NASCAR Busch Series season. 16th place. Having a good day. Just a little bit farther back, we've got Justin Labonte with a new crew chief this week in the 44. Trying to get a spot away. That is Jerry Robertson in the 78. He's trying to go around. Robertson not on the lead lap. And racing for position with Justin there. Fike in the 66, right behind him, the yellow car. And a race for 9th as Sorensen tries to get around Denny Hamlin. How about Stacy Compton here, Wally?
Yeah. He's in a backup car. Or no, they fixed this car. Yeah, but he went in the wall pretty hard in his qualifying lap. And he has worked his way up to, is that 12?
Yeah, just took 12th place away. Lindsay Krugel, what is out?
Man, he is charging up there. I'm in his pit box right now. And Stacy told me yesterday after he did go into the wall that he was really optimistic. You can see, like you said, he just took 12. They did bring him in, and they gave him 4 tires and fuel because they said he was a little bit tight in and loose off, but it doesn't seem like he's having much of a problem.
It's tough to go from the back to the front in any race, especially where the field is competitive, as we find in the NASCAR Busch Series these days. But for Stacy to start in the back and pick his way up to being just outside the top 10 right now in a car that was crashed yesterday and repaired overnight with no practice laps on it before they took it back out on the track, that's pretty good effort.
Yeah, they did a pretty good job fixing that car because it looked like a backup car.
Yeah. Yeah, I talked to Stacy this morning over by the car. The crew was just putting the decals on at the finishing touches, and he said really just a lot of sheet metal. It didn't bend anything. They didn't replace any suspension pieces.
Yeah, they were worried about, or he was worried about bending the rear clip, and if you bent the clip, then you would have been in trouble, but they got away with it.
Well, Dave, things have not gotten any better for Carl Edwards, have they?
This is not going to end the way it did for Greg Biffle last year. Brad Barrett, he just spent about 10 laps on pit road. What was the team fixing?
Well, we had the flat tire on lap 6 in a Charter Communications Ford, and it ground the Heim off and just ruined our day. You know, come out here to Denver to Charter's home country and got a whole lot of Charter associates out here watching the race, and told Carl to go have some fun because our day's done now.
Still making laps for championship points?
Yeah, you know, we come here to gain points. We're going to lose it today. We just got to go win some races now.
Remember, that's the purpose for Carl traveling back and forth between series. He wanted to do as well as he could in the Nextel Cup, and he wanted to try to win the championship here.
Oh, there's a heck of a race going on right here. Paul Menard and Bill Elliott have been leaning on each other for the last couple laps, and he's going to take them both.
David Green. Fine job. David up to 4th.
That was good. Nice move.
Johnny Sauter there on the 1 also. So David Green 4th, Paul Menard 5th, Sauter 6th, Elliott back to 7th. David Green started this race in 14th place. We talked about him earlier, how confident he was in his car. He's slowly picking his way up. Here's a kid having a good day.
Yeah, it really is. And like you were talking earlier, you know, there's a lot of pressure getting on inside a car like this when Harvick's had so many good runs with it, and you're expected to run good when you get in a car that's been doing well all year.
I talked to Brandon's crew chief, Ricky Vyers, about the young driver and how he's making progress. He said he's got a great attitude. He gives good feedback. And, you know, it's going to take time, especially when you're only racing about once a month through the first half of the season, to get used to the weight, the radial tires, all the things that a driver has to adjust to move from local short track racing up to super speedway racing in the NASCAR Busch Series. He said he's going to be good. Just don't rush to judgment on him. And we're seeing about halfway through this split season with Harvick. Maybe things starting to come around here today.
Starting to get a feel for it.
Now David Stremming, trouble.
Another left front.
Second time today for the Navy car. No caution yet.
Got to be a caution with all that grinding going on, no?
No, sir. And so for David Stremme, the 8th place driver in the NASCAR Busch Series standings.
It's going to take a hit.
Yeah. And he may end up with the same fate Carl Edwards had. He had some repairs to fix some of those bolts and pieces that he's grinding off, making his way back to pit road. The race for 9th place, Kenny Wallace in the 22, the white car, Denny Hamlin in the 20.
Takes it.
And Reed Sorensen trying to pick his way through that crowd also. So after Clint Boyer led almost the opening 100 laps of this race, J.J. Yeley blew past him on the last restart. Yeley's opened up a 2-second advantage on Boyer coming up on halfway.
Tonight on Speed, old school racing is back. Pigs, lose the race, lose your ride.
Good day to lose your car.
A lot of money.
This is a pretty quick car. That's something we're going to have to be scared of. You're going to line it out and you're going to race.
You're going to want to run gas.
That nitrogen sure doesn't even play into the wash. Let's race. Good luck, guys.
Lose the race, lose your ride. Pigs, tonight at 8:30, only on Speed.
As you know, it's wedding season. So we all need to be on the lookout for guys like this.
We are going to have tons and tons of opportunities to meet gorgeous ladies that are so aroused by the thought of marriage that they'll throw their inhibitions to the wind.
Wedding crashers?
You know how they say we only use 10% of our brains? I think we only use 10% of our hearts.
What do they want? To drink Budweiser and meet beautiful women like us. So what should we do? What we girls always do. Play along.
Love where your head's at.
Stop treating me like a dead shrub, Nancy. I'm gonna beat this thing.
Beat it once a week. Should be okay. Thanks, Jen. No problem, Nancy.
Ah, hey, look at me.
Ace, the helpful place.
Homeowners insurance covers all this, but not this. To protect your home from a flood, call 1-888-FLOOD-08 for your free brochure.
Fox Reality, the only channel dedicated to delivering 100% reality.
NASCAR Nextel Cup Series. And you could win $250,000 and a tanker of Sunoco fuel. Race to Sunoco for details. A tank. Tanker.
They're very important.
Did I say tank?
No. You said it right. Yeah. Saying tanker is, that's a lot of fuel.
Yes, it is. We are halfway through today's race at Pikes Peak International Raceway. There is the leader, J.J. Yeley, one of 3 drivers that have been out in front today. But just joining us, it's pretty much been a 2-driver show. Clint Boyer led all of the first 100 laps except for one circuit during an exchange of caution flag pit stops. And then on the restart from the second yellow, J.J. Yeley, who moved up into the second place on the run up to the caution flag from 7th starting spot, blew by Clint Boyer and has stretched out a 2-second advantage on the runner-up car.
Clint may be scratching his head on that one.
Here's Kenny Wallace trying to pick a spot. Brandon Miller in 8th, Kenny Wallace in 9th.
Kenny's car looks like it's working pretty good down on the bottom, and Brandon Miller can't keep the car down that low. Holds him off that time.
Big week for Kenny and his brothers next week. A NASCAR Busch Series race in their hometown of St. Louis, the Wallace Brothers 250. TNT will have that for you on Saturday night next weekend. So Kenny in the championship right now in 5th place in points. Talked to Kenny some last night. He's just so optimistic about life in general, but Kenny just desperately wants to win a race. He wants to win one of these races so bad, there are almost no words to describe it.
Well, he knows how.
Yeah.
He knows how, and, you know, losing their sponsor earlier this year, that was, you know, that's tough. And, you know, like we talked about last week, Kenny's been on a roller coaster his whole career. But, you know, his team's been running good this year. And it's just a matter of time before he wins a race.
Look at that, right down on the apron. Wow.
Looking for grip.
If you had some of that for sale right now, you'd be down there playing Let's Make a Deal. So far, Miller able to hold them off. That's 8th and 9th places. And here they go after Bill Elliott for 7th. Kind of saw this on that last long run. After a while, Bill's car would fall off a little bit.
Yeah, looks like we got some slower cars up ahead now. He's going to clear them before they get to it. Brandon Miller takes the spot.
7th place.
Kenny's got to deal with him.
Ooh. Little thread the needle.
Yeah.
Lap car is Steve Grissom. And Kenny Wallace by Bill Elliott to pick up 8th place.
I think maybe this cooler temperatures, shade on the track has hurt the car of Bill Elliott, because he was really good at the beginning of the race.
David Stremme, a couple laps down, Lindsay, after his 2nd flat tire of the day.
Yeah, this has to be disappointing for him. I mean, David Stremme started 20th. You see the tire right there. That's the 2nd left front tire that blew on David Stremme's car. We are climbing up to the box right now. Randy Cox is David's crew chief. Randy.
Lindsay, how about a 3rd flat left front? He's got a flat left front now, too. Wow.
Something's got to either be cutting that tire or they have a heat issue where they're melting the bead. But when you have free go like that quick in a race,
yeah,
it's pretty consistent. You have a problem.
I mean, he was only in at lap 117. Well, we're at 133 now, so you're right. A suspension piece or something, one of the control arms getting into the side of that the tire on the inside wall there.
Takes a lot of confidence from the driver right now.
You think?
Okay, we got the tire change. Go ahead.
I guess the good news is it's not the right front.
Yes, definitely.
The drivers.
Well, you would be coming back in every time afterwards.
Yeah, that's probably true. Lindsay reports up in the pit. It is the caliper.
Rubbing? They think rubbing. I'm going to take a look at it. This is only going to happen again if they're just sticking another tire and a wheel on it.
Yeah, it's hot. So Stremme will head back out, and I'm not sure why, truthfully. Might want to go see what they can do to fix it instead of putting left fronts on it every 25 laps.
It'd be a good idea. But we're going to be out of left fronts here pretty quick.
Yeah. So Stremme heads back out after his 3rd problem of the day. No problems at all for our race leader, J.J. Yaley, as he continues on cruise. There's 2nd place man Clint Boyer by.
Tony Raines up on the high side.
Yeah, this is kid in the Ford here. Well, this is Kevin Hamlin. This is his NASCAR Busch Series debut. Kevin is a 26-year-old from Snohomish, Washington. He's a 2-time champion of NASCAR's Northwest Series, one of the regional tours that NASCAR has in different parts of the country. The story on him getting this ride is kind of interesting. In one of his Northwest Tour races, he met Larry McReynolds and kept in touch with him by telephone and moved to Charlotte, you know, like a lot of guys, packed this stuff up, moved to the Charlotte area looking for his break in the upper levels of NASCAR racing. Set up a deal to run a couple of ARCA races for Ken Schrader Racing this year, and now with Larry's help, he says, got this Chip Ganassi development ride for this race with the Biaggi Brothers team. Car that Jeff Green has been driving in a lot of the companion races.
Right. He's doing a good job. Yeah. His 18th spot right there, and he's racing with the guy that's got a lot of laps in one of these cars, Tony Raines.
Kind of thought we might see a little more out of Tony Raines today, huh, Dave?
Yeah, and they tried to adjust on that car in the last pit stop with air pressure. His car wanted to spin out going into the corners. He restarted 20 seconds, so he has picked up between 3 and 4 spots, depending on what Kevin Hamlin will give him here. But Tony has been complaining about that car most of the day. Really not as quick as they thought it might be, as you said, Alan.
Isn't it interesting how expectations craft your opinions? They're racing side by side. We talked about Hamlin doing a great job, and kind of a disappointing day for Reigns. So that's going on for 18th and 19th place. Whoa, a little contact there. Right behind the leader. Casey Atwood in the 6 and David Stremme in the 14 bouncing off each other for a minute. I guess Stremme on the fresher tires was trying to follow the leader through the hole, and maybe Casey didn't expect
Didn't know he was there, yeah.
The charge to the inside. I bet JJ liked seeing this in his mirror and not along. Well, I guess it was kind of alongside. Oh man. Go in between.
Frustration from the 14 driver perspective.
No frustration for JJ Yeley as he's out in front. Past halfway here at Pikes Peak International Raceway. 142 of 250 are complete.
This Speed Channel presentation is brought to you by AutoZone. Get in the zone, AutoZone.
TNT Sports do have live coverage from Fountain, Colorado of the ITT Industry Systems Division, and Goulds Pump salute to the troops 250 presented by Dodge. Catch the best of Major League action on TBS. It's the Braves and the Diamondbacks. Starting tonight at 9:30 Eastern on TBS. Little race here for 7th and 8th spot. Brandon Miller in 21. Johnny Sauter in 1. Miller would be the passer. And Sauter would be the passee.
Well, not over yet. Johnny Sauter's not really easy to pass.
Sauter's car wiggling and wobbling there up off the corner. Slip slide story of the day here at Pikes Peak International Raceway. A hot afternoon, a racetrack that is kind of acting like you're used to hearing about at Darlington. Just kind of wearing on the tires and making the lap times fall off greatly. And there are a lot of guys really struggling around here. Dave, that might be one of them pictured right there. Bill Elliott. Yeah, Bill's done a lot of drama in his days behind the wheel. I checked with Blake Bainbridge's crew chief to see why he was fading back. He restarted in the 4th position. It's now all the way back to 10th. Bill said the car really isn't handling that bad, but Blake, the brakes are the problem on this thing. Chattering every time I dive into the corner. You do need brakes in this racetrack. Okay, so Bill's not having quite so much fun anymore.
Yeah, I'm trying to see how much tape they have on the front of the openings on the brakes. That may be something they may take off some more tape during a pit stop. That's going to hurt the downforce, but there's a lot of tape on the front of that. I just can't see real well what it is on.
What that? It's tough.
Dave will help us out when he pits.
You know, another thing to think about here, Wally, where cooling is concerned and grill openings and that kind of thing, is the altitude. Right, we are, what, 5,000... Where's my little note here on the altitude of the racetrack? 5,365 feet above sea level is where the track is located.
Yeah. So there's not a whole lot of air that these cars can use for downforce. There's less of it here than there would be, say, down at sea level. So yeah, it's obviously that's why these cars are sliding around a lot of. Well, as a racetrack, it's just this place is tough on tires, and I think that's more than anything. That is, you talk to everybody in the garage area. It's Rockingham, Darlington tires, 3 laps, and it starts getting slower and slower and slower.
Well, what about as it relates to the brake cooling, though? The less dense air make the opening you need to cool the brakes and the radiator and so on more?
Yeah, I think so. It's just like I said, it really depends on how much opening you have here. I think a lot of cars they'll try to keep as much tape on the front of the cars as possible to try to get that downforce and maybe hope that they don't have to use as much brakes. This isn't a racetrack to really use a lot of brakes. You use it to set the nose. But if the car's not handling well, you'll use more brakes and they'll get hot.
Yeah. This is a race for 11th place here. Denny Hamlin in the 20 and Ashton Lewis in the 25. Haven't called Hamlin's name earlier. Haven't called Lewis's name much today, but he's had some great runs at this racetrack in his Busch Series career. Best finish here 9th, both in 2002 and 2003. And remember, he was running the family team then, basically on sponsor. To come out here and pull off the top 10 finish was a pretty big deal. That's Casey Atwood right behind him. Casey made an unscheduled green flag pit stop a minute ago after that contact with David Stremme. Had to come in and get 4 tires. It's knocked him a couple laps down to 27th place. Inside the final 100 laps, with J.J. Yaley leading, driving for Joe Gibbs. We'll go through the field when we come back from Pikes Peak. You're watching NASCAR on TNT.
On the next Texas Hardtails.
I don't need any plumbers. I can do it myself.
That's your opinion. I'm telling you.
Pikes Peak International Raceway, caution out. That is Jerry Robertson, who just spun in turn number 2 and brings out the 3rd yellow of the race. Pit road is open, and we will see everybody looking for 4 fresh Goodyears, including the leader, J.J. Yaley. This is at lap 161, Lindsay.
J.J. Yaley is on fire. They're excited about this stop. They have 2 fresh sets of tires left. They're going to put one of those sets on him now. They're going to give him some fuel. J.J. has been saying his car feels awesome. It's great. It was a little bit tight off, but he said he's not even concerned. It's running so well.
2-car Clint Boyer is in. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment for that car, just a little bit loose. As far as the 8-car of Martin Truex Jr., they're going to make a track bar adjustment and air pressure adjustment. It wanted to turn just a little bit better. According to Martin Truex, championship leader, they will finish that up on his left side as J.J. Yaley goes by and sends Martin off pit road.
Boyer to edge Truex there, but it will be Yaley holding on to the lead on this set of pit stops. So, why did the caution flag wave? We'll show you.
Well, he was loose forever. Loose getting into the corner, and then, but he kept it off the wall, or did he? Yeah.
Just about caught Clint Boyer coming down the hill, though. 2nd place car. Watch the blue 2 sneak by on the inside. Yep. That was close. Yeah. That'll ruin your whole day, won't it? Watch how close. No problem. Had it all away. Under yellow here in Colorado Springs.
Speed Channel Test Drive Pontiac GTO. Tommy Kendall and NASCAR Nation's Leanne Tweeden drive the modern-day version of a ground-pounding legend.
This thing's got 400 horsepower.
Speed Channel Test Drive Pontiac GTO. Friday, 7 Eastern on Speed. It's a Formula One weekend on Speed. From the Hungarian Grand Prix. Friday, live F1 practice. Then on Saturday, live F1 qualifying. And Sunday, the Hungarian Grand Prix. Your F1 weekend begins Friday, 8 Eastern, only on Speed.
Ow. Ouch, Dave. I'd fix myself, but I am a wall.
Let it dry, sand it, paint it. First off.
What's that?
Nothing.
Ace, the helpful place.
Fast drivers in fast cars, driving on the best tracks in America. All understand racing is a contact sport. That's
back under green at Pikes Peak International Raceway, the NASCAR Busch Series on TNT. J.J. Yaley hanging on to the lead. First off pit road. Clint Boyer still dogging him. Martin Truex Jr., Kenny Wallace, and David Green make up the rest of the top 5. Got the Carl Edwards car there, kind of slotted in between some of the top 5. And then you got this.
A mess. These guys racing have a lot of cars that are a lap or more down in this pack.
And a couple of them bounced off each other when they steamed off into turn 1 in the restart, but everybody got it straight. So you got Sorensen there in the 41. There's Johnny Sauter in the 1. Sauter's running in 10th. Sorensen in the 41 is 8th, and Bill Elliott in 64 is 9th. Denny Hamlin creeping up a couple spots in that 20 car. Up to 7th after the pit stops.
He's slowly working his way up towards the front, isn't he? We should talk about the tire thing. Have we talked about that yet?
Yeah, no, we haven't really talked about how that picture has changed as the race has worn on here.
So what do we have left? We have this set of tires, which are mostly stickers, and then a lot of these teams have one more set of stickers left.
Yep. And went back racing with 85, 86 laps to go. So they started on this set of tires with 86 to go, and they've got another set of tires in the pits still.
So it's pretty close. It's a lot better than it was when we talked about it at the start.
But that's
a lot of laps on a set of tires.
Yeah, that's a long way to go, Dave.
Guys, I think the decision was which set do you bolt on now? Because most teams had 2 left. Most had a slightly scuffed set and a sticker set. Clint Boyer put on the stickers. They have a lightly scuffed set remaining. Martin Truex Jr., the championship leader, put on the scuffs. He has a sticker set remaining.
So, Dave, what was that now? Clint Boyer has 1 set left that are scuffed?
Slightly scuffed. And what they did, remember, is a lot of guys didn't make their mock qualifying runs on a set of tires. That saved them a whole set. And so the scuffed tires that are here have very few laps on them in most cases. But they did have to make a choice between that and the very fresh sticker tires.
I'll tell you what, though, if they come off pit road, Boyer with a couple laps on his tires and Truex on a set of stickers on a restart, with 25 to go or something, that couple laps after the restart advantage Truex.
I agree. It'd be interesting to see who's got the stickers now to put on this next pit stop, because I think you're right. The stickers are going to make a big difference. Even though they have 2 laps on them, if it's like Darlington or Rockingham, 2 laps may as well be 20 laps on a set of tires.
Kenny Wallace trying to catch up to Martin Truex Jr. Kenny in 4th, Truex in 3rd.
Kenny is down on the... He's got some grip down there somewhere. He's bound.
And, of course, the Carl Edwards car there, 35th place, 18 laps down to the race leader. You heard from his crew chief, Brad Parrott, earlier, just out there trying to have some fun and gain all the points they can.
Kenny Wallace looking on the outside of Truex. Got a pretty good run going. And
he's been digging that bottom lane off of turn 4 for a while right down on the flat. Let's see what he can do on the high side.
Well, he's got it.
I meant digging in the bottom lane. I didn't mean like the 60s phrase, digging it, things like that. Come on, don't look at me like that.
Hey, Alan Brady. He's digging it.
Yeah, man. Cool.
Kenny gets the spot, 3rd place. Yeah, we need to move off that.
Yeah, thank you. How about David Green? We talked about him a little bit earlier, but David's really had a tough season. Dave really struggled. David Green's 11th in points. His best finish of the season is only a 10th place.
And that is struggling for David Green and that team.
Absolutely.
They're both better than that.
But David having a great run today. 5th place right now. And right there in the hunt, trying to put some pressure on Truex. Here's a little 10th place race here. Hamlin sliding back a couple spots since the restart. He was 7th. Now he's trying to hang on to 10th. Paul Menard up the challenge. We talked about laps on the racetrack and familiarity, Wally. Paul Menard ran this racetrack in NASCAR's Midwestern Series, the Midwestern Tour, a couple of years before he came to the NASCAR Busch Series. So again, here's another place where he had laps in other forms of racing before getting into a Busch Series machine.
Definitely helps the driver, confidence-wise, coming to a racetrack that he's familiar with.
So Menard into the top 10, but he is 6 seconds behind the leader, J.J. Yaley. There are the top 2. Yaley in the Orange 18, Clint Boyer in the Blue Deuce with 176 laps complete here at Pikes Peak International Raceway today. Some potential winners have had some tire troubles. It has taken them out of contention. So far, though, everything good on the front few cars.
Well, we've got Kenny Wallace in the picture right now, who's turning some pretty fast laps.
Kenny's been faster than the leaders for about the last 10 laps, and look at him closing in on 2nd place, Clint Boyer. Let's take you through the front part of the field and see what the crews are thinking about their strategies and their car's performance at this part of the race. Start with the leader and Lindsay.
J.J. Yaley came in on lap 160. He is sitting pretty right now. They changed his 4 tires. He's got 1 set left, by the way, guys. And they told me earlier, expect them to come in again on lap 190 or 195. When they did bring him in earlier and give him those tires, they also took a half pound out of the left rear. They said he is good to go on fuel today with the 2 car.
Clint Boyer needed a good run this week after finishing 16th at Loudon last week. They are getting it, but can he win the race. They made an air pressure adjustment to try to help this car turn a little less well, a little bit loose, and hopefully that will get it toward the front. Lindsay?
The 22 car of Kenny Wallace has moved up to second place. They brought him in. They gave him 4 new tires, changed air pressure a bit. He also has 1 set left, and he says he's feeling a little bit too loose, but he should be okay, guys.
Boy, Kenny Wallace is just like he was shot out of a cannon. The last 4 or 5 laps I've been watching his times, and he just picked up the top 2 spots in the last couple laps.
2 guys that have done all the leading today. Went by Clint Boyer, went by J.J. Yaley. Wow. So, with 64 laps to go, new leader, Kenny Wallace.
Got a new sponsor on the car.
Yeah, so it's a 1-week deal.
1-week deal, but
they're trying to patch things together.
Into more week deals.
You're trying to help him out.
I'm trying to help him out, yeah.
There you go, and he appreciates that, by the way. So Kenny Wallace becomes the 4th leader of this race. Kenny with 2 runner-up finishes so far this season. It's been a long time since Kenny's been to victory lane in the NASCAR Busch Series. How long, you asked?
I was going to just ask that.
I appreciate it.
Oh, we got trouble up in 1 and 2.
Car on the wall. Blake Feast in the 5 and Jerry Robertson in the 78. And the caution flag is out.
Now, what do you do, Alan?
Yeah.
He can't come in and put tires on.
By the way, how long since Kenny Wallace won a race? How about it's November 2001.
He's hungry.
Yeah. 4th caution of the race, Blake Feast in the Hendrick Motorsports 5. One of their development drivers, and 2nd incident of the day for Jerry Robertson in the 78.
I can't tell from that angle. They were 2 cars very close.
I think Blake kind of got left reared here.
No, it looks like Robertson lost it. Well, he got left reared, but he lost it. Saved it. Well, Blake had a lot to do with the saving it.
8 tires better than 4.
But unfortunately, Blake at the short end of the stick on that one.
Yeah. And so, with 61 laps to go in this race, do you pit and take on your last set of tires? Do you stay out, hope for another caution? What do you do? And especially if you're the leaders team.
Are you asking me for my personal opinion?
Yeah. What do you do? Quick.
How many laps do we have left?
61. Be 60 right here.
You got to come in and get tires.
Okay. Let's see. Here comes the commitment line. Bill Elliott. Nope, he's going to come in too. Most of the front runners on pit road. 60 laps to go. Lindsay, you're first.
I am, and J.J. Yaley's coming in. I told you guys before, they had said they were not going to. This is their last set of tires. They bring him in. They will give him this last set. They will also add fuel. Now the Kenny Wallace's 22 car has come in. Same plan there. They are also going to add on the last set of tires. That's what the crew chief had just told me when I was talking to him. They'll give him fuel also today.
Left front was the problem for Clint Boyer. They're taking air back out so the car will turn better. As for the 8 of Martin Truex Jr., it was tight from the middle to the off part of the corner. They will make an adjustment for that as well for Martin and send it back out. They didn't think they could win the race unless they made those adjustments. Stickers for Truex, scuffs for Boyer.
Oh, that's going to be interesting to see now how that we speculated. Yeah. We'll see how it works.
And a shuffle in the running order up front off pit road. Clint Boyer out first. Aaron Fike out second, followed by Yaley, Truex, and then Kenny Wallace all the way back to 5th.
Tonight on Speed, old school racing is back. Pigs.
For the final top 10 positions in the chase for the Nextel Cup, it's tight.
A field bubble.
Let's see how close it is from Jeff Gordon up to McMurray and Dale Jarrett holds down 10th position going into tomorrow's race. Log on to NASCAR.com for more information. And we have kind of a new hierarchy here after this round of pit stops. Things have changed. First of all, the 4 car of Kevin Hamlin did not pit, so he's the new leader of the race. Then you've got Clint Boyer, who got off pit road first, followed by Aaron Fike. Dave's double checking, but we believe Fike just got right side tires on his pit stop. then J.J. Yaley, then Martin Truex. And poor Kenny Wallace, who raced his way up to the lead in those last few laps before the caution, finds himself now back in 6th place.
Yep, that's not good. Work your way all the way up there. Now, I think that 4 car is probably going to disappear from your screen fairly quickly when the green comes out.
But won't it be interesting trying to get around him with all the lap cars up to the inside?
Definitely going to be interesting, but that may be a good move on their part. If the yellow comes out later, they have a set of tires left, and that's going to make a big difference if they can come in and put a fresh set of tires on with 20 to go.
Yeah.
That 4 car will be fast, so this is definitely a strategy. Hope it falls your way call.
Hey, you know what? They obviously don't have a car to win the race because they haven't been up there knocking around the top 5. They got a driver in his first NASCAR Busch Series start. If he can hang on here and they get a caution,
absolutely,
after 15 or 20 laps,
but he's going to have to hang on. Right. That's literal right now, because when this green comes out, they're going to be passing him on both sides.
All right, half a lap from the restart. Here come the lap cars. Kenny Wallace has got to be sick right now.
That's frustrating when you're sitting in that seat and you lose all those positions. I don't know if they made adjustments to the car or what, but when you've worked your way up and you give those spots back on pit lane, that's a tough pill to swallow. And I know those guys are mad too. I mean, you know, the pit guys, I could tell when he left the pit and they lost position, those guys were really angry.
55 laps to go. Here we go.
Yep, like I said, passing on both sides.
Gotta make it through the corner first.
That's a big restart for Clint Boyer right there. Put as much distance between him and second place. Or really, the guy he's got to worry about is the 18.
Yaley's kind of pinned right now. Aaron Fight and Hamlin. Kevin Hamlin racing side by side. Yaley's pinned in. Here comes Truex. Is he going to make it 3 wide?
He thought about it. Oh, wow. Ooh, it's going to be 4 wide here in a second.
Yaley through the center. And Truex down low.
And that's the thing. You got different guys on different tires. And obviously, at a place like this, we all know that 4 new tires is going to be the way to go. It gets pretty intense on a restart.
I'll tell you what, you talked about it earlier, but the restart huge for Clint Boyer because he's gapped J.J. Yaley by a 2nd and a 3rd right now. And he needs to run and hide for all he can.
And he's in clean air. He's out there by himself, so he's sitting pretty right now.
There's Kenny Wallace still hung behind Aaron Fight. David Green also racing for a spot. That's 5th, 6th, and 7th. 38 is Tyler Walker, not on the lead lap. And Bill Elliott also in the mix there in 8th place in the 64.
Miller, Sauter right there, the 1 and the 21. Side by side.
And Wallace going to slide through around Fight for 5th place.
But by this time, he's probably going to be a couple seconds back.
Oh, yeah. He's given up a half a straightaway. 3 seconds. And now Kenny Wallace underneath Kevin Hamlin.
Oh, bum him in the back here. Brandon Miller, yeah, slid way up. Don't know if he got run into or what, but he lost about 6 spots right there in just 1 corner.
All those cars right there were for position. He was 9th. Let's see when he comes back around here. How about 14th? Okay, so when Wallace says ooh,
we tried to replay it so you could see what it was all about. But the 1 car got in the back of him, and he just had to save it and check up, and here comes the rush.
Stacy Compton says, thank you very much. I'll take those 4 spots.
Yeah, that was a gift.
In that 59 car. So Miller kicked back to the 14th spot, and while this is going on the track, Blake Feast has gone to the garage. Lindsay's with it.
Blake Feast, I asked you what happened. You said, I don't even know. Do you have any clue after talking to your crew?
I mean, the 78 and I were kind of battling, but when we were terrible all day, and tried giving him room, and I don't know. They maybe he got loose under me. They said, I don't know. I'll have to look at the replay. It's just 2005 has been terrible. I hate it for all the Lowe's guys and everybody at Shopback that makes this happen. And you know, it's just it keeps coming. So we'll just do what we can do. Look forward to 2006, I guess.
Guys.
Man, this is good stuff right here. Yeah. Sauter isn't really finding a whole lot of room, so he's trying to make some room.
You got the lap car, Tyler Walker, there in the middle of this, and everybody else in that group, everybody in that group is racing for position on the lead lap. Compton in 59, Sauter in 1, Sorensen in 41, Hamlin in 4, Menard in 11. And this is all from the 9th place, check that, 8th place on back.
Sauter's trying to squeeze through. Just hasn't found the room yet. Probably run out of patience with the 38 pretty quick, like right now. The 38.
Yeah, here we go. 3 wide.
38, yeah, needs to slide up and let these guys go.
Yeah, next guy that's racing for position with Tyler Walker is Jorge Ketters. Yeah, he's a little bit behind him. While we're watching this, up front, J.J. Yaley, who's shaken free of traffic, he's closing in on Clint Boyer. And last lap by,
yeah, let's not write him off yet.
Last lap by, Kenny Wallace had the fastest time of all of the top 5. So this may not be over yet. We'll have to see. This could get interesting if this thing stays green to the finish. Here's Kenny. That is 2.73 seconds behind the leader, and the leader's got company.
And he's made up almost a second in traffic. He's been passing cars and making up time on the leader. But up front, we may have a change for the lead.
On that last set of pit stops, Clint Boyer put on some tires and had a couple laps on them. J.J. Yaley put on a set of sticker tires. Is that going to be the difference? And we've run, what, 8 or 9 laps now?
Yeah, but don't forget,
last restart?
The 2 car, you know, had a great restart. So he didn't have anybody even close to him up until this point. So that may have saved him a little bit, having those tires, you know, with a couple laps on them.
Yeah. Here's the move. Diving into 3. Left side's on the apron. Not quite.
Yeah.
Not quite.
To just back off a little bit, getting out the corner so he wouldn't run into Boyer. But I think eventually he's going to work him over to where he's going to get the spot.
The more these guys get side by side, the better Kenny Wallace and Martin Truex like it. Because they chopped off a whole lot of ground just in that little bit of side-by-side racing between Boyer and Yaley. I mean, look, you can see Truex in the frame there already. Yeah. Try him again.
Yeah, and that's going to put Truex on his back bumper here in about 2 laps if they run side by side through one more corner.
Clint Boyer picked up his first NASCAR World Series win earlier this year at the Nashville Superspeedway. J.J. Yaley yet to score for the first time in this division. Now being chased down by the series champ and the driver who's won the most races this year, Martin Truex Jr., a 5-time 2005 winner.
They're all going to have to contend with that 22 car before this is over.
Watching those lap times, are you?
Kenny Wallace has been running a couple tenths of a second faster a lap than the 3 cars ahead of him.
Truex is closing in, Dave.
And they've been trying to pump him up. He radioed 5 laps into this run. This car is plowing. Crew Chief Kevin Mannion radioed back. We're sorry, you got to go to the end on these. You'll have to save us again, driver. By the way, they like the way you plowed that field in New Hampshire last week.
Yeah, Martin was talking about his car's handling woes last week, and he wound up charging up to the front late and winning the race. So maybe it's in the cards again today. 38 to go. Need a break. Clint Boyer leading. J.J. Yaley second. Martin Truex closing in third. Can Kenny Wallace get up there and make it a four-way fight to the win? Back to Pikes Peak in a minute.
Introducing Duralast. Auto parts built to exceed the need. Alternators built with heavy-duty electronics for longer life. Brake pads built with moldy technology for maximum durability. Water pumps built for improved engine cooling with some of the best warranties in the business.
The ITT Industry Systems Division and Goulds Pump salute to the Troops 250, presented by Dodge, to its closing stages now here at Pikes Peak International Raceway in Colorado Springs. Got a car in the wall, turn 3, Johnny Sauter.
Yep, Sauter and Stacy Compton got together coming off of turn 2. I was watching out of my third eye, and he cut his right front because of that contact.
And the caution is out.
You can only use that right front to push so much.
You see he tore it right up.
Yeah.
Unless that started earlier than that.
I only caught it coming out of 2. Right here is where I saw it.
Yeah, okay. That'll do it right there.
Well, let's see. Nobody's got anything left except the 4. That's the 4, and this is what the 4 needed.
Oh, Pumpkin Road's closed. That's why he hasn't come in yet.
So this could be good.
Joe Shear Jr., the crew chief for Johnny Sauter.
I'll take that right to the garage.
They have some issues. So that we know. Everybody's taken on, my notes anyway, everybody's taken on all of their sets of tires except that 4 car of Kevin Hamlin, who right now is back in 14th place. There are 20 cars on the lead lap, so he will have to restart basically 20th, plus behind all the lap cars.
That's the downside.
Yeah. Caution a good thing or a bad thing for Kenny Wallace or Truex, or these guys that have been trying to catch Clint Boyer?
I think it's very good for Kenny Wallace. Kenny Wallace has got a fast race car, and he is going to be tough. The other guys, I think they're all pretty much evenly matched, so it really doesn't matter. It's going to be very important on the restart. Again, if you can clear the slower traffic and get some distance between you and the guy behind you, that may make the difference.
All right, only one coming to pit road. The previously mentioned Kevin Hamlin to take on his final set of tires. Yellow flag number 5 is out here at Pikes Peak, coming on up on the finish.
The best damn sports show, period. Join Chris Rose, John Sally, Rob Dibble, and Rodney Pete for the most outrageous late-night sports show television's ever seen.
That's not cool, Sally.
Weeknights on FSN.
Imagine this is your baby. If it's snatched, it could end up in a chop shop. Thieves rip up your car and sell it off for parts. They profit while...
International Raceway near Colorado Springs with the NASCAR Busch Series. Down to the final 28 laps in this one. And a pretty sporty little 4-car race shaping up. Kenny Wallace shuffled back to 6th on that last set of pit stops. He's back up to 4th. Lindsay, what's his team saying?
His team is just praying. They have their fingers crossed. Wes Ward is his crew chief. Wes, it has been 4 years since Kenny Wallace had a victory in the Busch Series. How badly does he want this?
He wants it bad. This whole team wants it. Man, we've done the team's done a good job so far. We just had a little miscue on the pit stop there. We beat leads, and the car's real good. Just a little bit tight here behind these cars. Didn't anticipate being there, or I would have adjusted for it. But the FreedomRoads.com Bear Creek Soup Ford Taurus is awesome, and this is a group effort. Kenny's doing an awesome job. I don't think I've ever seen anybody run on the apron of this racetrack, but he's been doing it. So, and that's probably where he'll have to be to win the race, but I think we can.
And Kenny's wife Kim is sitting next to the crew chief, and she just looked up and gave me a cross the finger sign. Today, who do you have?
For the second week in a row, Johnny Sauter, after starting on the outside of the front row, has run into trouble. Last week it was an ill-handling race car. This week it was contact on the track. Johnny remains behind the wheel with the net up, so not really going to go bug him right now because his guys are fixing the car. They're going to get back out and run for some points.
All right, Dave, thanks. So we are closing in on the restart. Not yet on 1 to go, but 27 to go at this point. By the way, Kevin Hamlin with the fresh tires is going to be 19th when we get set to go back racing here, Wally. But Boyer, Yaley, Truex, and Wallace, What do you think? You still like that 22?
I still like the 22. I mean, since the last couple of pit stops, whatever they've done to that car, the cars look very, very fast. He's caught these guys. He can pass them, that's another thing. As far as Hamlin goes, you know what? If he uses his head, he can pick through traffic and not abuse the tires at the get-go. He could be a problem.
Agree, disagree. The trick to this for Kenny Wallace is going to be how quickly he clears the lap cars in that inside lane in the restart.
There's no question about it. If he gets hung up like he did last time, that may be enough for him to not have a shot at winning this race.
I mean, we're going to be down, 25 or so to go. And
yeah, if you spend 6 or 7 laps trying to get by a guy, you're not going to have enough time.
See you next week. So there's Kenny and that 4th place car.
And that's where really the guy in the lead, on this restart, you don't want to smoke that inside line too much going into turn 1. If you can just kind of, and then get in front of them and going into turn 1, you're better off. And if you smoke them and the cars behind you follow you, then you're taking an opportunity away. I just think that's something you can use to your advantage if you did it right.
So the guys on the inside line, you're going to have John Wood in the 47, Carl Edwards, who is 17 laps down in the 60, Jorge Guenners in the 32 in his first Busch Series race. Remember him from the Mexico City road course event. And then Casey Atwood in the 6, who is also 3 laps down after an unscheduled pit stop and a flat tire earlier. 25 to go. That's the way I would have done it. Just keeps us there long enough. Yeah, now Truex have cleared the traffic.
That's still a good restart for everybody. I mean, at 22 now, Kenny Wallace only has to worry about the 47 car of John Wood. So that was a pretty clean restart for all these guys racing.
Now the top 4 clear of the lap traffic. And 24 laps to try and get it done. Interesting to see Yaley right down on that line around the inside of the corner, and Boyer and Truex up off the bottom a little bit.
These guys are searching right now. They're searching for grip, where they need to run for their race car the way it's set up. That's why you're seeing all these different lines right now. They're all looking.
How about the leader, Dave?
They told Clint Boyer, go out there and win the race. Hug the bottom, keep the revs up, and by the way, don't key the mic. I think that tells them, you've got what you got. Just go do it, Clint. Lindsay?
You're looking at a crew chief Jason Ratcliffe for J.J. Yaley. Right now, he's got the finger pose going on because they're trying to figure out what they can do to get around Clint Boyer. They, of course, have their stickers on. J.J. had said the car is a little bit loose off, but good for this team as the laps have winded down. They intended to get tighter, so they're hoping that continues.
Right now, those top 2 have put a little gap on Truex and Kenny Wallace. Boyer and Yaley getting away just a bit.
It seems, the 22 though seems like it runs better after they've run some laps. So we'll see if that holds true.
He lost some ground there off that corner.
Sure did. Looked like he pushed on that one.
Yaley stalking Boyer. Unmentioned in this, David Green solidly in 5th place right now. Next car behind him will be Bill Elliott. There's David. And Elliott trying to track him down. Right now, it's all about the guys up front. Clint Boyer, J.J. Yaley. Everybody's on equal footing where tires are concerned, with the exception of the couple laps that Boyer had on the set he put on, but he's managed to hold the lead through, I would imagine, any advantage he had there.
It looks like the 2 car may be a little bit better in 1 and 2, and it looks like the 18 of J.J. Yaley's a little bit better in 3 and 4. Looks like Yaley, we got a career problem there.
A.J. Fight, Aaron's older brother,
where he left it. Still on there?
Still on there, yeah. Okay. He's creeping down onto that access road and away from the racing surface, and we stay under green. I meant the disadvantage that Boyer might have had, by the way, in the first couple laps in the tire difference. Right now, he's pulling away a little bit.
It looks like Yaley's car is gotten a little bit tighter coming off the corners. And now we see Kenny Wallace. After a few laps, it seems like he starts reeling these guys in.
Boyer eased away. Now Kenny Wallace and Truex closing on Yaley for second. And Wallace to try and challenge Truex here for third. Not quite. This race has had its stretches. One car out in front for long periods of time. Pit crews have been crucial on the day. The cars that have had the chassis set up to handle for the long haul, where it's really paid off, because these guys you're looking at have been the front runners for most of the day. Kenny Wallace was in the top 10 for a lot of the day. A latecomer to the top 5, if you will, but Boyer, Yaley, and Truex, they've been right there for almost the entire distance.
Kenny was going to get under the 8 car that time. The Truex slid way up the racetrack in turn 4. Kenny Wallace still trying to run the bottom.
Yeah. A little bit farther behind. This is a race for 10th place. Brandon Miller trying to squeeze around Paul Menard. And he is able to hang on to that spot. And that all going on about 6 seconds behind this race for the lead. Hey, Dave Green closing in on this group.
These guys start racing and getting side by side. Well, not only is going to help David Green, but it's also going to help the 2-car Clint Boyer just drive away.
But by the way, the guy in the fresher tires, Kevin Hamlin, he's only picked up a couple of spots since the restart, so he's not going to magically appear in this top group here as we run out these final 15 laps. So a new player as we track fastest laps. David Green, quickest of this front 5 last time by. There's the gap, though, from Boyer back to this group as Clint continues to pull away.
David's going to try the high side. Gets up alongside Kenny.
Going to be 4th place there. So Wallace kicked out of the picture now, back to 5th, and David Green next to try and challenge Martin Truex for 3rd. A long, tough season for the former series champion, David Green.
Davis' car looks really, really good getting into the corners.
He's probably going to wish this was a 300-lap race. The speed he's got compared to these other guys, but only 12 laps to go. He might have enough to get the 2 in front of him, but it's a long way up to Clint Boyer right now. It looked like he had his hands full coming up off that corner.
Yeah, it looks like I said, it looks like he's picked up a push pretty bad. Truex is going to try to get underneath. Yeah, Yaley's car is really sliding up the racetrack right now.
For 2nd place. And Martin Truex, the championship leader, is through. Well, not quite. Couldn't hook it up off the bottom.
Wow. Very close there.
3 wide here, 3 wide. David's looking.
Yeah, very nice.
Opportunistic driving. Let's see if he can finish the deal here. David Green through to 3rd place.
Well, he's going to get Yaley, too. Yaley really pushed hard getting off of turn 2 there. He's going to lose that 2nd spot.
How about David Green, Mr. Burns?
David did something he always does at the tracks. He takes the rookies around and shows them the place and helps them drive this track. He said, you know, sometimes that's burned me. Guys like Brian Vickers have gotten really good and sort of beat me after I do that. One guy that he took around this weekend for sure in a rental car was Clint Boyer. Clint may win this race.
David's to 2nd, but the problem is the gap that you see up to Clint Boyer. That's a 2.5 seconds. And he's only got less than 8 laps to go here this time by. Still, best finish of the season by far for David Green. Well, how about this guy Clint Boyer here, Wally, huh? picked up his first win back in June. And you talk about a command performance today. Bowyer has led 146 of the 242 laps that we have run so far. And so our ExxonMobil command performance of the race we give to Clint Bowyer. Dominant so far.
Car's been good. Very good all day. And he's been at the right spot all day, too. That's up front.
Won the pole, led the opening run of the race up to lap 96. And just after the restart.
Wow. Guys are bouncing off each other pretty hard right now. Truex and Yaley bouncing off each other, getting off of turn 2. And here we go.
A little through line.
Wallace is going to pick up 2 spots on that one. Well, let's see if he can hang on to it.
Yeah. Yes, he will.
Good racing right there.
Hey, David Green is closing quickly on Clint Bowyer. He is closing quickly. He's cut that deficit in half in a couple laps, Wally. This is going to be close. Yeah. The rate he's closing, it's going to be tight at the checkers. Look at it. That's half what it was a minute ago.
Well, he's 0.2 of a second faster that lap.
And 0.8 of a second behind with 5 laps to go. So
it's going to be pretty close. Meanwhile, these two guys are going at it. Yaley and Truex.
And that'll be for 4th and 5th now, instead of for 2nd that it was.
Wow, Truex is in the dirt up there.
Yaley's not giving him much room, is he? Not that he should.
No. 5 or 6 laps to go. The give and take decreases.
Steve Grissom's car pulling down low in turn number 2, showing smoke. He's trying to turn it off the racetrack, so the race finishes under green. Nice sportsmanship there on the part of Mr. Grissom toward the fans. And now 3 laps to go. David Green make it 5 car lengths in closing on Clint Bowyer.
It's going to be tight.
This is going to be close.
Fortunately for Bowyer, there's really no traffic in front of him. Wow, look at the 27 car just make up all that ground getting into the corner. I'm telling you, that car gets in better than anybody out there right now.
Here he comes for the race lead, coming to 2 laps to go.
Wow, that is strong.
Side by side.
Don't see any problem. As good as this car is, but getting into the corner. Ooh, pinching. That could be trouble.
Doing all he can to try and protect the win. Lap cars ahead. Johnny Sauter back out of the garage in front of the leaders. They'll be coming to the white flag. Green rides hard.
Wow.
And by for the lead, coming to the white flag. Fans on their feet here in Colorado Springs. 1 lap to go for David Green. What a rally. Boyer's trying to get to him if he can. But that is not going to work. In fact, Bowyer had to jump out of the gas there, try to drive it hard off the 2, and David Green got away.
Maybe David didn't show him everything this time.
It's been a long time since David Green's won a race. October 2003, Kansas City, but he's done it in Colorado Springs today. David Green leads only 2 laps on the day, the last 2. And he's the winner at Pikes Peak.
Good stuff.
What a finish.
Boyer's got to be devastated.
Was that a mad drive up alongside, or was that a congratulations?
That's got to be a congratulations. David is a very clean race car driver. If you want to race somebody the last 2 laps of a race, he's one of the top 5 guys I would.
Well, you know, and something to think about here too, Wally. These guys put their last set of tires on at 55 to go. Okay? David Green is so smooth. You talked about the driver saving his tires. Obviously, David had more left at the end of the day.
Yep, the veteran came through.
Lindsay.
I'm here with Stuart Cooper. Stuart, that was unbelievable. Describe that to me.
I don't know what to say right now, but man, first of all, I want to thank God. He has blessed us with such a great race team, a great sponsor. Kleenex, John Cook, everybody at Kimberly-Clark. Man, they have stuck with us. We've had a tough season. We had some bad luck. We got a learning, they're working hard. Same car we wrecked at Loudon, and just unbelievable. I'm so proud of my guys. And David Green, man, what an awesome job.
Hey, guys, by the way, this guy, Stuart Cooper here, got about 6 hours of sleep in the beginning of the week, patching this car up from its wreck at Loudon. Congratulations. Guys.
Well, there's your winner today, David Green, our Reese's Big Cup winner. David picking up his 9th career NASCAR Busch Series victory, and the first in almost a couple of years. And he's got the engine steaming after that little burnout display. We'll talk to our winner and some of the other top finishers when TNT returns to Pikes Peak International Raceway. David Green going to victory lane.
Here we go. Got it at 300 miles per hour.
And our Justerman hair color rejuvenating moment of the race.
Right there, enough said. Can you believe that? I mean, 2 laps, the right 2 laps.
Well, he was 5th on that restart with 25 to go, Wally. And makes the pass for the win, leading just 2 laps on the day. Our Just for Men hair color rejuvenating moment of the race, David Green with the winning pass on Clint Boyer. All right, he's made it to victory lane after the track-long celebration, Dave.
Victory lane is on the front straightaway here at Pikes Peak. A brew bath for David Green, who has not won in 60 races and only leads the most important lap plus 1 more. Now a big chance to celebrate with his boys. David, you told me this morning that there had been times when you give it away too much to the rookies when you drive them around the track. Well, you drove Clint Boyer around this track. Did you save something you didn't tell him?
No, those boys have been on the game all year, and we've had a frustrating year. But you know what, Stuart, come here, Stu. First year as a crew chief, we had a body change, a manufacturer change, and this boy never gave up, and I never gave up, and the critics were hard on us all the way up to right now. But you know what? This might settle a little bit of that talk, but I want to say hi to John Cook, Kimberly Clark. They've been in the sport 12 years. This is kind of win they deserve, and I'm proud to be able to drive it. This Kleenex Supra Martin Ford to the victory lane, and for Ford, our first year with Ford.
David, at what point did you know that you had a winning race car?
I think I did yesterday, and we had an early draw for qualifying, and the track had that other rubber on it, and I knew we wouldn't get a good qualifying run. But I didn't want to see another caution. Our car in the long run was very, very good. But I knew we've had a good car a lot of times this year. Greg Biffle's kind of stole some of our limelight. He's been on top of his game all year, and he's made our team better. So thanks to Clarence and Tammy for giving me another opportunity here. And for Kleenex and Ford and all of our great sponsors, the Postal Service, Royal, Valvoline, everybody involved. And gotta say hi to Diane and the kids. They missed another victory, but we got one here today.
The number 27 Bruco team puts it all together today. Lindsay.
Clint Boyer led 152 laps. You tied the record for Martin Truex Jr. from last year. 2 more to go. How frustrating is it, Clint?
Pretty frustrating. I just hate it for the guys. You know, we tried real hard here. They gave me a good car, qualified awesome on the pole, and gave me good pit stops, gave me everything I needed. I just talked to Wally about discipline and spinning your tires before the race, and I just took off too quick and didn't have anything at the end, but live and learn.
Guys.
That's tough. I mean, because he drove a spectacular race all day long. I mean, he did what he had to do, and, you know, I mean, he just had something that was just a little bit better, but that's a tough one. That's the tough way to lose, though, when you've dominated all day and you lose it in the last few laps. But you know what? Those guys are going to have some races to win here in the future.
So there you see the top 10, and we look through the rest of the finishing order from today's race. Regan Smith was the last driver on the lead lap in 21st place. And some of the drivers who got laps down and had some problems during the day, you'll see Carl Edwards come by pretty far down the list. 34th place. His trouble started back on just the 5th lap of the race. So a thriller of a finish. 5 guys fighting it out right down to the end, and the guy who restarted in 25th place, in 5th place with 25 to go, wound up being the guy who took the lead with 2 to go and won the thing. And our congratulations to David Green on his first win of 2005. And just the beginning of our NASCAR weekend on TNT. Tomorrow it's off to Pocono for NASCAR Next Up Cup Series racing presented by Subway. We start at 1 o'clock Eastern Time with Bank of America Countdown to Green. Next on TNT, East Coast, it's Law and Order. And for the viewers out west, get in the drama of LAPD, Life on the Beat. That's next on TNT. We get a finish like this tomorrow. It's going to be a blast. Let's go to Pocono. All right, we're going to go to the airport. Congratulations to David Green, winner here at Pikes Peak today. We'll talk to you tomorrow from Pocono. You've been watching NASCAR on TNT.